You know that moment in early November, kind of like now, when that grocery store is suddenly exploding with twinkly little lights, cinnamon pine cones are everywhere, and you have Mariah Carey music playing in the background? That's the signal. The holidays are coming. And for some, it's magic. For others, it's like an emotional ambush wearing a Santa hat. Hi, I'm Rachel, your fast talking therapist friend with a sharp tongue. And today I want to talk honestly about why this season hit so hard for so many, how that shows up in our minds and our bodies, and what it might look like to move through it with both skills and compassion for ourselves. Because if you're listening and you're dreading the next 2 months just a little bit, you're not alone. So let me tell you about a time that a therapist friend was sharing with me. And she was saying that a few years ago, she had walked into her parents' house for Thanksgiving. And the second she crossed that threshold, that front door, she swore it was like a time travel. She was a grown adult with a mortgage, a business, and 3 kids. And suddenly she said she felt like she was 16 years old again. She was rolling her eyes at her brother, over explaining herself to her mom, and literally bracing for the inevitable comment about her outfit. And that night, she said she drove home with clenched hands just around the steering wheel, thinking, what is wrong with me? I do this for a living. Why do I lose my skills the second I walk through that door? And the truth is that nothing was wrong with her. What was happening is what we call family systems. The holidays have a way of just cracking open those old dynamics like a time capsule. And even if you're grown, your family might not have actually updated their scripts. So they hand you your old role the moment you show up, and your nervous system plays along before you can even catch it. And that's just like one layer. Add on financial pressures, social media perfections, and memories of people who aren't at the table anymore. And you've got the emotional equivalent of a pressure cooker with tons of vulnerabilities. So it is no wonder that our bodies start buzzing, our thoughts get louder, and suddenly the holiday cheer feels like holiday survival. And you might notice it in different ways. For some people, it's anxiety, the over planning, the need to make sure every detail is perfect. Because if it's perfect, then maybe the discomfort is going to stay quiet. For others, it's a fog of sadness, that quiet heaviness when the world seems bright and you don't feel like you match. Some people get snappy and irritable. Some shut down completely. Some end up just scrolling on their phone in a guest room, just trying to regulate through memes. And none of those reactions mean you're bad at the holidays. It just means that you're human with a nervous system that's trying to protect you in a situation that's emotionally loaded. That's where compassion has to enter. So instead of saying, why am I like this? Try to validate yourself with something like, of course, this is hard. This makes sense. That one reframe, treating yourself like a person having an experience, not a problem to fix, changes everything. So picture this. You're at a dinner table and someone makes that comment, and you know what I'm talking about. The one that lights up your chest like fireworks and your blood starts to boil. I mean, maybe it's about your love life. Maybe it's about politics. Maybe it's just about too many questions of when are you going to have a baby? When are you going to get married? And in that moment, your brain wants to pick one of two doors. Door A, you snap back with a lifetime's worth of pent up monologue. Door B, you shut down, you nod, and let resentment simmer like gravy. But there's actually a third door. It's called stop. And that is one of our DBT skills. And in real life, it looks something like this. You feel this emotional surge. You literally freeze your next move. Like, do not breathe. Do not move a thing. Think back to that time when we all used to play freeze dance. The music stops. You literally just freeze. You then take a deep breath, longer on the exhale. You silently notice your heart is racing, your jaw is tight, and you feel cornered. You momentarily can pull back, maybe kind of like zooming out on those Google Maps, and you say to yourself, this isn't just about the comment, this is a pattern. And then you choose consciously how you want to proceed. And that pause, guys, isn't weakness, it's power. It's the difference between being pulled into the same old dance and stepping off the dance floor entirely. Many of my clients will hear me say, you don't have to get into that sandbox and play with them. And it's the same thing here. And if you don't catch it every time, that is okay. That's part of just being human in a really messy family system. You could try again the next time. The bottom line is that compassion isn't just for when you succeed. It's especially for when you don't. And one of the biggest holiday stressors for many people are boundaries because they're often tangled up with guilt. You might know exactly what you need. Maybe you can't stay at your parents' house for 3 straight days without losing your mind. But the thought of saying it out loud feels like betrayal. But here's the thing. Boundaries are not punishment, guys. They're instructions for how to love yourself as well. And there's a DBT tool that we call Dear Man that helps you express those boundaries clearly and kindly. But more than the acronym, it's about standing in your worth, saying, I matter here too. You could say, I love you all, and I'm going to sleep at the hotel this year so I can actually get some rest. Or you can also say, I'm happy to talk about work, and I'm not discussing politics at the table. You can absolutely say no to invitations that deplete you. And you can also say yes to the parts that genuinely bring you joy. And this isn't about becoming a boundary robot. It's about making space for yourself in the middle of everyone else's expectations. That's compassion in action. And for a lot of people, holidays are when absence is the loudest. That empty chair, the tradition that doesn't happen anymore, the person you thought would be there. And grief has a way of sneaking in between like the wrapping paper and the laughter. And sometimes people don't know how to make space for it. So they either try to just pretend it's not there or it floods everything. And so radical acceptance is a skill that will help there. It doesn't mean you like the loss. It means you acknowledge fully. This is reality. This is what is. You can miss them and still laugh. You can cry in the bathroom and then dance in the kitchen. You can light a candle and keep a ritual alive to honor them. You don't have to choose between grief and joy. They are allowed to sit at the same table. And as you do that, I want you to remember your grief is not inconvenient. It's a sign of love. Being gentle with yourself here is so important. A lot of holiday meltdowns aren't actually moral failings. They're biology. You're underslept, overstimulated, running probably on sugar cookies and adrenaline with not a lot of sunlight because we just had daylight saving time. We lost an hour. So at 5 p.m., it's getting dark again. And if you live up north in the Northeast, and it can be really depressing when it gets dark late at night or early at night. And the DBT skills that we use are called the please skills. And these just remind us to take care of your body so that your emotions have a chance to stabilize. You want to eat regularly. You want to sleep. You want to move your body a little bit. Take your meds if you have. Step outside for some actual daylight. You're not weak for needing these things. You're a human with a nervous system. And compassion means taking your own needs seriously, not treating them like they're an afterthought. And one year, I will tell you, after a particularly chaotic family gathering, I left early. I sat in my car, hands on the steering wheel, and instead of berating myself for not handling it better, I said out loud, that was a lot. And I'm proud of how I showed up. And the parts I didn't love, I'll try again next time. And in that moment, I felt this strange sense of peace, not because everything was fixed, but because I stopped fighting myself. That's what I want for you this holiday season. Not perfection, not forced cheer, just honest, skillful, compassionate navigation of a time that can be beautiful and brutal all at once. Remember, you're allowed to create your own version of the holidays, one that fits you. So if this resonated, share it with someone who's quietly dreading Thanksgiving dinner or Christmas. And if you want more mental health tools you can actually use, follow along on TikTok and Instagram for your daily DBT skills in real life. Take a breath. You've got this. And I will see you next time. Thanks for joining me at Perfectly Imperfect Me 365. I am your host, Rachel, licensed psychotherapist, licensed in 9 states. Hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to subscribe and follow me.